Hi, hi everyone. It's Ken Mason from Whispering Souls. Um, so before I start doing some, doing some videos on, dimensions and third, fourth, fifth dimensions, that is really kind of gathering steam, I guess, in the spiritual world. And I've spent a lot of time over the last 2 weeks watching videos, listening to people, getting information about what they are, what people are expecting of them. We have all kinds of, obviously with everything we have all kinds of beliefs within this dimensional thing. We have people on one side that believe that that they are granted this ability to be able to help us, that they have the ability to transport themselves, or being able to walk through walls and all this kind of stuff, and because they can do this, that they're far better than people, that they can talk to energy sources that we could not even apprehend. So they're basically saying that because they're in the fifth dimension, that they're much better than us. And of course, on the other side, you have the non-believers that basically said, it's bullshit. In the middle, I guess, is about me, where I'm kind of looking at this stuff, and I've always been the type to look at it and say, you know what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And I just kind of feel that, when you start making things more, extravagant or more, weird, it's more of a fact that, people do this to try and become almost like gurus, or try to attract people and use their gullibility to do this kind of stuff. And I hate to say that, but that's really kind of what I feel, because that's basically what a lot of people do, is they want to create this kind of format that people will want to be with them. That's basically what cults are. I'm not saying people believe that are cults. There's obviously some that are cults and ones that are new, and some of them kind of, hey, this looks interesting, let's work it and see where it goes. But there's the two that people are focusing on, and the one of the, obviously this is the fourth dimension, because everybody says we are the third dimension. I don't like the word dimension, but I'm going to use it because that's what we're focusing on. And the third dimension is where we are. It's all about how we're working, the life, the lessons we're learning, the day-to-day stuff, making money, making our life happy. And this is the third dimension. And of course they say, no, the third dimension has all the negativity. That's, as you can see now, everybody's upset, creating world havoc. And this is what the third world is all about. And now, what happens though is that, from what they're saying, is that we need to go from the third dimension to the fifth dimension to be happy. Now, in between, of course, is the fourth dimension, and basically what everybody's saying in the dimension world, or the dimension belief, is it's the kind of the dimension that does the crossover. So you get to be able to use your abilities in dreams, and it's basically dreams or things that pop into your head or whatnot. It has really nothing to do with intelligence, or not intelligence, sorry, but different worlds. I just lost the word. Anyway, yeah, intuition. But to me, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, so it's the crossover. So you're going from basically not having any abilities through the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension, where all your abilities will open up and you're able to see the fifth dimension, which to most people, this is just a change in your awareness. It's kind of like, hey, I'm more aware now. I'm more aware of what people are saying. I'm more aware of this. I'm more aware of that. I'm more spiritually aware. Some people say this is where your abilities come in. So you become the medium. You're able to become a medium. You're able to read people. You're able to understand when things are happening. And I kind of look at that and I'm going, well, don't we do that already? Because the whole concept of the fifth dimension is that this is where we are going to get things that we don't know, that we can't do. The third dimension is a world where everything's restricted, where the fifth dimension is everything's not restricted. So, the second thought about that is, okay, if nothing's restricted and we don't have a body, that must mean I'm dead. Because the only way that we cannot have a body is to be dead. And the only time to be out of our body to do what the fifth dimension says we can do is when we're asleep. So to do all the things, being able to travel all over the place without limitations, think of something and it's there. I forgot what it is right now, but where you think of something and it appears, or after time it appears before you. So it's kind of like the way that they're explaining is that that's the way that the spiritual world is, where they can move things around, they can build things, they can make things appear before them. But when we go to the fifth dimension, we can do that as well. But to me, that you can only do that if you're dead, because you're tied to your body. So, if you're doing that while you're asleep, then that's the fourth dimension. If you're doing it in the fifth dimension, you're dead. I mean, logically, this is what it means. Of course, there's all kinds of other dimensions they talk about. There's 12 dimensions or 7 dimensions, and whoever you want to talk to, whoever wants to create their own belief system, will create their own belief system and whatever's in that system to suitify themselves, not for people, but for themselves. And I'm, like I said, right in the middle, and the way the concept is, of course, is that each dimension allows us to communicate further with spirits. Our energy is lighter. To get there, we have to change our vibrations and train ourselves how to change vibrations to get there. And once we're there, then we have to do it again to change vibration. And it's kind of something that I'm saying, well, that's a lot of work. And I really kind of feel that we're already doing that. It just makes sense to me that, we have spirit guides, we have angels, we have past loved ones that we talk to all the time. And according to the fifth dimension, and with the belief of the fifth dimension, is we don't do that until we get to the fifth dimension. So what are we doing here in the third dimension? The way I look at it is, in the way we are now in the third dimension, what I always envision is imagine yourself in the middle of an onion with all its rings. So you're right in the middle and you have all these rings going out. So you're right there in the middle, and then you have the next level, which is basically your emotional level. And then you have the next ring, which is basically your aura. And then you have the next ring, which is communication abilities. And then you have the next ring, which is spirit guides. And it just, as it moves out, but because you're the center and you're the control of that onion, you have control of everything that's in there. So, if the outside is communication to angels, well, then you can communicate it because you're in charge of it. Somebody just can't come in and say, no, you can't talk to your sixth ring. You're not allowed. You have to move up, and you have to take the courses, and you have to go this way, and you got to do that way. And once we allow you to, then you go to the seventh. But, however, you're in charge of it. So if you have a spirit guide on the outside ring, and you want to communicate with them, then you just communicate with them. It's back and forth. Past loved ones over there in the sixth ring, hey, I'm going to go talk to them because they're there. We can communicate with them. So I don't understand this concept of having to move up dimensions, because we already have those dimensions, and it all depends on our spiritual age and beliefs that leads us to the amount of communications we can have. Obviously, if you're a young soul or a new soul, you don't understand the rings, or you just completely ignore them because all you want to do is go out and play. You're not going to use those. But as you get older, you get more lives, more past lives, and all of a sudden, you're in like past lives that's around 70 or so, and you're going, oh my God, I see all this, and I want to see this, I'm seeing spirits. you start communicating with the rings because they're talking to you now. Of course, your family members have rings as well, so they're right beside you. So as you're side by side with each other, you can now communicate through their rings. So they may have 7, you may have 12 because of your age, and then all of a sudden all these communications are going through these rings. So there's no need to have like some place you have to work towards. It's a weird concept to me, and it's just something that I don't think that I can believe. Simply because it's they're saying that the 5th dimension is less restrictive, but they're making it restrictive to get there. So there's a control factor there, and it's just, to me, I don't know. It's my belief. It's my thoughts. I'm going to write. I'm going to do some videos on the rings, at least what I believe they are, and I just, like I said, if it doesn't make sense to you, then it's not yours and it's not mine. So anyway, I'll leave you at that, and I hope that makes sense. Talk to you soon. Bye.